So we're trying to find this limit, and the first thing that we always do is we try to plug in C. So remember, we plug in the value that we're approaching. If it's a finite number, we're done. If it's 0 over 0, we're going to factor, cancel, and then plug in. So before you see the fraction, before anything happens, you're trying to find a limit, so you will plug in the 4. So you say 4 squared minus 16 over 4 minus 4, and then we get 0 over 0. So it is that 0 over 0 that we have that tells us that we have a hole in the graph. So really the goal of this factor cancel is to cancel out that hole that we have in the graph, or cancel out the hole so that we can see what the limit actually is going to be. All right, so what we need to do is we need to factor and then cancel. And remember, the whole goal is to cancel out x going to 4 tells us that we want to cancel out x minus 4. So that is the goal, is to get x minus 4 in the numerator and in the denominator. All right, so the first thing that we need to notice is that this x squared minus 16, that is a difference of two squares. So we take the square root of x squared and we get x. We take the square root of 16 and we get 4. Then we write that in another parentheses, so we have x and 4, and then as a difference of two squares, we write that as a positive and a negative, and that will ensure that the middle term crosses or cancels out when we FOIL it out. So our factorization for x squared minus 16 will become, taking the square root of x squared, we get x, take the square root of 16, we get 4, and x plus 4, x minus 4. All right, so plugging that in, and again, we still have the x, so we still have the limit notation. So we will have x plus 4, x minus 4 over x minus 4. All right, so now we fortunately have factored, and we see that we have factored correctly because we do have the x minus 4 factor canceling. Now, when we cancel that out, we still have the x. So that means we're still going to have the limit notation involving x. And so now it's like everything else has to not happen. If someone just gave you that limit, your first step would be to plug in 4. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to plug in 4, and we get 4 plus 4 equals our 8, and that is our limit.